I still remember the smell of coffee that morning. Burnt, bitter, just like the words my mother had left on my voicemail the night before. Lila, your father and I won't be attending. It's just too soon after. Everything, everything, that word had carried the weight of 10 years of silence. I sat there in my tiny kitchen, my wedding dress hanging on the back of a chair, sunlight cutting through the blinds like bars. I should have been glowing. I should have been nervous in that joyful butterflies, in your stomach kind of way. But instead, I felt hollow. My parents weren't coming to my wedding. They hadn't met Ethan, the man who'd stood by me when I was scraping together 2 part-time jobs to pay rent. They hadn't seen me rebuild my life after college, when I'd lost everything trying to chase dreams they didn't believe in. Music isn't a career, Lila, my father had said years ago, his tone so sharp it left no room for argument. It's a hobby. You need something real. He meant a degree that would impress his friends, a job that sounded stable, a life that mirrored theirs. But I wasn't built for their mold, and when I walked away from their expectations, they walked away from me. Still, when Ethan proposed, I wrote them. I called. I left messages. I wanted them there. I wanted them to see that I'd made it, that I was happy, that I was loved. But on my wedding day, their seats stayed empty. 2 perfect chairs draped in white, mocking me. I told myself it didn't matter. That love was enough. Ethan's family was there, kind, warm people who treated me like I belonged. And for years, I focused on that. On the good, on building something of my own. Ethan believed in me more than anyone ever had. When I played piano at night, he'd listen with his eyes closed, smiling soft-grid, like every note was something sacred. You should record, he told Lilas. Something people need special, Lila. Something people need to hear. So I did. I took the small savings we had and poured it into a home studio. I uploaded my music online, 1 song at a time, and slowly, quietly, things started to change. A song went viral, then another. One day, an email came from a producer in Los Angeles. They wanted me to write music for film. Within a year, I was earning more than I ever dreamed. Ethan would grin and say, "Told you so," every time a new check arrived. We moved into a modest house by the coast. Not flashy, but peaceful, sunlight on the walls, sea air drifting through open windows. Then, on my 32nd birthday, I bought the car. A 2024 Porsche 911 Carrera, sleek, silver, the kind of machine that hums like it knows it's been admired. New S-5, Hyundai, paid in full. It wasn't about luxury. It was about what it represented. Every hour I'd spent proving them wrong. I hadn't planned on showing it to my parents. I hadn't planned on seeing them at all. But fate has a strange sense of humor. It was a Sunday afternoon in May. Ethan and I drove into town for brunch, and as we were leaving, I saw them. My parents. Standing outside a little antique store, my father's hair grayer, my mother's hands thinner. Time had softened their edges, but not the look in their eyes. That quiet, constant judgment. "Do you want to say something?" Ethan asked, his hand on mine. I hesitated. My heart thudded so hard it felt like it echoed. "Maybe I should," I said. "Maybe it's time." I parked right in front of them. The car door opened with a satisfying click. My mother's head turned first, her expression polite, until she saw me. "Lila?" Her voice cracked, uncertain. "Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad." I smiled, calm, steady. "It's been a while." My father's eyes flicked to the car, his brows knitting. "Is this yours?" "It is." I leaned against the door, the metal warm under my fingertips. "It's my anniversary gift to myself." He cleared his throat. "Anniversary?" 5 years married, I said softly. Ethan's waiting inside. Their silence was sharp enough to cut glass. My mother's lips trembled. We didn't know." "No," I said quietly. "You didn't want to know." I could see the words hit her. Her shoulders sank, and she glanced down, clutching her purse like it could protect her from the truth. My father shifted, uncomfortable, his pride unraveling 1 thread at a time. "We thought you'd moved on," he said. "You stopped calling." I called, I replied, for years. Birthdays, holidays. My wedding. You just stopped answering. The street was silent but for the soft ticking of the car's cooling engine. A breeze carried the faint scent of lavender from the shop behind them, mixing with the salt air from the ocean blocks away. I could feel the ache rising in my chest, that old, familiar longing, the one that had kept me up countless nights, wondering why my own parents couldn't love me without conditions. My mother finally met my eyes. We made mistakes. I almost laughed. Mistakes. The kind that last a decade. I didn't come here for an apology, I said. I came because I wanted you to see something. I gestured toward the Porsche. That car. That life. It came from the same daughter you said would never make it. The same one you left out of your Christmas cards. The same one you couldn't stand to see halfway. Unless she was doing it your way. They didn't speak, they just stood there, faces pale, the afternoon sun throwing long shadows across the pavement. For a moment, I felt pity. Then, I remembered every night I'd cried alone, every voicemail I'd deleted before listening all the way through. I used to wish you'd come back, I said softly. Now, I'm just glad I learned how to live without needing you. I turned to leave, but my mother's voice stopped me. Lila, wait. I looked back. Her eyes were wet. Can we talk? Maybe over dinner? My throat tightened. For years, that's all I'd wanted. But something inside me, something strong and steady, told me this wasn't the time. I appreciate that, I said gently. But I'm not sure we're ready for that kind of conversation. Maybe someday. And then I smiled. A real smile. Peaceful, not bitter. Take care of yourselves. I got back in the car. Ethan reached over, squeezing my hand. You okay? I nodded, starting low and even, like sound pert boat finding its rhythm. Like a heartbeat finding its rhythm. As we pulled away, I caught a glimpse of my parents in the rearview mirror, standing small, framed by the silver reflection of the car they'd once said I'd never afford. That moment wasn't about revenge. It was about release. For the first time in my life, I didn't need them to see me. They already had. The drive home felt like a sunrise after a long night. The air smelled like ocean salt and freedom. I rolled down the window, let the wind tangle my hair, and whispered to myself, You did it, Lila. Ethan smiled at me. What are you thinking about? I laughed softly. Just how good it feels to finally stop chasing people who were never going to turn around. He squeezed my hand again, and we drove on, past the small shops, past the childhood I'd outgrown, toward the coast where the light met the water. That's where peace lives. Not in revenge, not in proving anyone wrong, but in knowing that you were right all along, that you could become everything they doubted, and still choose grace when the world offered bitterness. As the sun dipped low, I glanced once more in the mirror. The road behind me shimmered in gold. I whispered a quiet goodbye, not to them, but to the version of myself that still hoped they'd love me the way I'd always loved them. And that was the real victory, because forgiveness, the quiet kind, the kind you give yourself, is worth more than any car, any success, any apology that comes too late.